PepsiCo, an empire of snacks, drinks, and beverages. Every day, its products are consumed over 1 billion times across 200 countries, generating more than $70 billion in revenue annually. But while today, PepsiCo is a global titan, its journey to this point has not been smooth. Behind the massive success, there have been struggles, bankruptcies, and incredible turns of fortune. The story of PepsiCo is one of reinvention, risk, and perseverance. The beginning of Pepsi. To trace the rise of PepsiCo, we must first travel back to the late 1800s. In 1889, in New Bern, North Carolina, Caleb Bradham, a local pharmacist, created a drink that would soon challenge the world's largest cola brand. Like many pharmacists of the time, Caleb had a soda fountain in his pharmacy, which allowed him to experiment with concoctions that he believed could energize and refresh his customers. His most popular concoction was a beverage called Brad's Drink. This drink was a mix of sugar, water, caramel, lemon oil, cola nuts, and other ingredients that gave it a unique taste. As the popularity of the drink grew, Caleb realized that he needed a more enticing name to match the excitement. He rebranded it as Pepsi-Cola, hoping to emulate the success of Coca-Cola, which had become a dominant force in the soda world. What made Bradham's Pepsi-Cola stand out was its sweet, refreshing taste and fizz. Its unique flavor, paired with a growing consumer interest in beverages that could aid digestion, made it the perfect product for the health-conscious drinker. By 1902, Bradham had founded the Pepsi-Cola Company, setting the stage for a long battle that would span over a century. Pepsi's early struggles and bankruptcy. When Pepsi-Cola was first marketed, it positioned itself as more than just a soft drink. It was presented as a digestive aid, meant to invigorate and revitalize the body. Although the slogan wasn't necessarily the most glamorous, it helped give the product a health-focused identity that would initially attract customers. Pepsi's early years were buoyed by its innovative marketing strategies, including hiring famous spokespeople like race car driver Barney Oldfield. Oldfield popularized the phrase, "Drink Pepsi, it will satisfy you," which helped to elevate the brand. As a result, Pepsi gained visibility, making it a key player in the cola wars. However, Pepsi was soon struck by a hard financial setback. After the First World War, Pepsi faced huge challenges. Bradham had made a significant gamble, purchasing enormous amounts of sugar in anticipation of price increases during the war. Unfortunately, when the war ended, sugar prices plummeted, and Bradham was left with a stockpile of overpriced sugar. This costly miscalculation forced Pepsi to file for bankruptcy in 1923. In the wake of the bankruptcy, Pepsi was purchased by a group of creditors who acquired the company's assets, patents, and trademarks for just $30,000. Later, in 1931, Roy Megajoul purchased Pepsi for a mere $35,000. Even with these changes, Pepsi remained on the brink of failure. The Great Depression and Resurgence. As the Great Depression swept through America, it further crippled many businesses, including PepsiCo. The soda company was barely scraping by as a result of unpaid loans and declining sales. To make matters worse, the dominant brand of the time, Coca-Cola, had already established itself as the drink of choice across the country, leaving Pepsi in its wake. In 1931, after years of struggle, Pepsi filed for bankruptcy yet again. But as one chapter closed, another door was opening. That same year, Charles Guth, a businessman, saw the potential in Pepsi and took charge of the company. Guth made significant changes, such as reformulating Pepsi's recipe and introducing a new business model. One of his more notable decisions was to introduce 12-ounce bottles, which offered twice as much soda as Coca-Cola's 6-ounce bottles. At just 5 cents for a 12-ounce bottle, Pepsi-Cola was positioned as the best value in the soda market. Guth's new approach to branding and his emphasis on consumer value began to show success. Pepsi launched its famous nickel jingle, promoting the idea that customers were getting twice as much for a nickel. The jingle became a hit, and before long, the song was broadcast coast to coast, making a significant impact on Pepsi's marketing efforts. Pepsi continued to push for larger market share, and by the mid-1950s, it was beginning to take on the soda giant Coca-Cola. Pepsi-Cola's transformation into PepsiCo. Throughout the 1950s, Pepsi's fortunes started to take a positive turn under the leadership of Alfred Steele, a former Coca-Cola executive. Alfred knew that the key to success lay in heavy advertising. By creating massive advertising campaigns and strategic sales promotions, Pepsi's net earnings skyrocketed. But despite the improved performance, Pepsi was still trailing Coca-Cola by a large margin. However, Pepsi was able to tap into a new audience, the baby boomers. In the early 1960s, the Pepsi brand rebranded itself as Pepsi, the choice of a new generation, and aimed its messaging directly at the youth market. With a youthful and modern image, Pepsi began to distinguish itself from Coca-Cola, which had relied more heavily on an older demographic. This shift in focus worked, and within just a few years, Pepsi reduced Coca-Cola's market share lead by half. As the 1960s unfolded, Pepsi continued to innovate with new product offerings, including Diet Pepsi, which launched in 1964. In the same year, Pepsi acquired Mountain Dew, a move that bolstered its product portfolio. But this was only the beginning. In 1965, Pepsi merged with snack food company Frito-Lay, forming what would come to be known as PepsiCo. By diversifying into snacks, PepsiCo had successfully created a formidable global brand that catered not only to soda lovers, but also to consumers looking for salty snacks. PepsiCo's growth and global expansion. In the years following its merger with Frito-Lay, PepsiCo continued to expand, purchasing major restaurant chains such as Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, and KFC between 1977 and 1986. Pepsi also focused heavily on international expansion, including a groundbreaking move into the Soviet Union. In 1974, Pepsi became the first American brand to be manufactured and sold in the USSR, marking a significant milestone in the company's global reach. But Pepsi's biggest breakthrough came in the 1980s. After decades of fierce competition with Coca-Cola, Pepsi made an unprecedented marketing move by hiring pop superstar Michael Jackson as its spokesperson. At the height of his career, Jackson was a force in the entertainment world, and the partnership between Pepsi and the King of Pop became one of the most iconic celebrity endorsements in history. The commercials featuring Jackson not only sold Pepsi to a younger audience, but also cemented the brand's connection to pop culture. Jackson's ads were wildly successful, and Pepsi capitalized on their success by bringing in other celebrity endorsers, such as Tina Turner, Joe Montana, and Michael J. Fox. These high-profile marketing campaigns led to an unprecedented boom for Pepsi, and in 1985, the company's sales even overtook Coca-Cola in supermarkets. The Cola Wars, it seemed, were far from over. Challenges, restructuring, and a new era. But Pepsi's meteoric rise also led to challenges, particularly in the late 1990s and early 2000s. By this time, the company had diversified its operations and owned a number of restaurants, including Taco Bell, KFC, and Pizza Hut. While these acquisitions expanded its reach, Pepsi found that its food ventures didn't contribute as much profit as its core beverage and snack businesses. So in 1997, PepsiCo spun off its fast food holdings into a new company, Tricon Global Restaurants, which would later become Yum Brands. Pepsi's move to refocus on its core business of beverages and snacks marked the beginning of a new era of acquisitions, this time with a focus on healthier options. In 1998, Pepsi acquired Tropicana, a major juice brand, followed by a 2001 merger with Quaker Oats, which brought brands like Quaker Foods and Gatorade into the fold. By the mid-2000s, Pepsi's global presence had continued to grow. It became the largest food and beverage company in Russia, further solidifying its status as a global brand. Pepsi's attention to markets outside the U.S. would continue to pay dividends as it expanded its reach and continued to see success with new products and rebranding efforts. PepsiCo today. Today, PepsiCo is a force to be reckoned with. The company has become one of the most successful, well-known brands in the world, with over 23 brands generating over $1 billion each in annual sales, including Frito-Lay, Gatorade, Mountain Dew, Tropicana, and Quaker. PepsiCo dominates not only the beverage industry, but also the snack food sector. The Pepsi-Cola drink, once a fledgling competitor to Coca-Cola, has now become one of the most recognizable brands worldwide. PepsiCo's diversification beyond sodas and into healthier and more varied products has ensured its continued growth. In addition to soda, PepsiCo now delivers products in multiple categories, ranging from snack foods to juices to nutritional drinks. In many ways, the Pepsi story reflects the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of business itself. Overcoming massive challenges, adapting to changing markets, and consistently innovating. While Pepsi's ultimate goal may have been to dethrone Coca-Cola as the top soda brand, it has since done much more than that. PepsiCo has expanded its scope to become an influential global powerhouse. What are your thoughts on Pepsi's bold strategy of copy, conquer, profit? Share your opinions in the comments below.